In this final clip of the module, we're going to talk about material functions, layered materials, and optimization. So let's get started. Anytime you perform an action over and over again, it's usually a good time to start finding ways of automating the process. How have we done that so far? Well, up to now, we've gone through and created a series of materials, and we've right-clicked and created material instances, and that's given us the flexibility to head towards building a basic base material or master material. Additionally, once in a while, like in this M parameter material, we've gone in and we've often selected these nodes and copied, Control-C, and pasted into different materials. Now we could take this one step further and turn this series of nodes into a thing called a material function, which is a lot easier than jumping into the material, copying it, and pasting it. So let's do that. So let's select these nodes one final time, Control-C. Let's go back to our first-person example map. Now we'll right-click and we'll go under Materials and Textures, and then we're going to choose Material Function. We'll call this MFN UVs. And let's double-click. Let's just take a look at this. Unlike the other nodes that we've been creating that have a base, this has an input and an output going for it. So let's zoom out. We'll Control-V to paste our chunk of nodes, and let's just plug that in. And let's save. Great. Now let's go back to our parameter series of nodes. Let's nudge this off, hold down the Alt key, and now let's right-click and create a material function. So if you just type in function and choose material function call, you get a material function. Now if we select this and we go and we find our material function, so if we start typing it, actually found it. So we can type MFN material function UVs. So it's plugged in. And now if we plug that in, it will serve the same function, literally, as this series of nodes. And we would be able to access that from any material over and over again. So that would save us a lot of time, which is great. So let's save. Actually, you know what? I'm going to leave those there so we have a reference. But we're going to save this. And let's jump back into the first-person example map. Great. Now, the next area that I want to talk about that springboards off of the material function is in the content examples. So let's go there. Okay, here we are in the content examples again, and this is the content examples material advanced map. And we can see we've already got some things interestingly going on here. Here's a vertex animation. It looks very much like cloth, but it's just vertexes animating. You could reverse engineer that. But specifically, I came into this map was in this material layers using material functions. So where you can go further with material functions is that you can create whole chunks of reusable code, somewhat like a base material, but instead of creating a core base material, you could create pieces of materials that serve different functions. You can see that echoed here. For example, they've built a chrome layer here, an aluminum layer here, a copper layer here, and this is where they start blending them using material functions. So if you select this object and you go into the material, now at first glance, it looks like it's a little bit complicated, but it's essentially using a lot of the same techniques that we've done over and over again. And what's great about this is you can also jump into the Unreal documentation for this level. Selecting the question mark and clicking Open Help Documentation will take you to the tab here, which will describe all of the information in the Material Advanced map, which is wonderful. So let's quickly summarize what we've gone over in this clip. We've talked about going one step further for optimizing our workflow by integrating material functions, and we've talked about how you could springboard off of that into creating more complicated layer materials. And then finally, let's just summarize this module. In this module, we've focused on next steps, resources, and areas for further study. We spoke about the aesthetics of materials. We gave away a ton of ways of pursuing, broadening, and deepening your knowledge, as well as specific resources for diving deeper into materials. That'll wrap things up. Thanks so much for watching.